Hello, everybody. Oh, how I missed you. It's been a while. It's been a few weeks, in fact. I think I'm going to change my Wi-Fi real quick, though. So bear with me. I should have done this before we started, or I'll leave it. And if it starts getting real choppy, I'll change it. But it's so good to be back. It was a great trip. I must admit, I was in Brazil for the last 3 weeks, and it was lovely. I have family there. My wife's family lives in the northeast of Brazil. Beautiful beaches, unbelievable beaches with turquoise water. And it's not super discovered either. It's not like you have Americans or Europeans walking all over the beaches or anything of that nature. It's still very Brazilian, which I love. So it was a great trip. In the past, I streamed from some rooms of the different homes I was in, and some of those rooms looked like I was in Brazilian prison cells, and people seem to enjoy that, especially once when I was in Brazil for 3 months because of COVID, and then I got COVID and I couldn't leave. There were definitely a lot more opportunities to stream during those 3 months. But I have to admit to you, it was nice just taking a break from the streaming for a few weeks. Nothing against any of you, but it's just, it's not easy. Two kids in Brazil, it can be a little tough. So anyway, I think in the future, I'll probably just sort of expect to be off for those weeks when I'm traveling. But it's good to be back now with all of you. So very good to be back. And I'm sure there's some things that we could cover. I'm sure there's some things we could discuss on NBA Top Shot, on NBA, on whatever's going on in the world, maybe a couple of tangentials. And I see already Ryan is saying, please fix fast break substitutions for players that are out. Yeah, I'm not on the fast break team, but I can definitely send messages to them. I know that there's an issue right now where when you put a player in, as of right now, I think Giannis on one screen is injured. On the other one, he's questionable. So I'm not sure what's going on there. I've never seen that issue before, but obviously it's something that needs to get resolved. And I know that at least once we had something where I think Tatum was out, but then you entered the game and it was as if he was in. They then corrected that. But something that I'm really hoping gets added to fast break sooner rather than later are the bench spots, or the bench spot period. I don't know the ins and outs though, so I couldn't sit here and tell you why or what it takes to get something like that added to fast break. But I think that'll make a big difference, and we won't all be sweating, the injury report for minutes before game time, and we'll be able to just say, oh, well, if Anthony questionable Davis doesn't play tonight, as that is almost the case every single night the Lakers play, it's Anthony questionable Davis and LeBron questionable James. Then you get to just say, well, if they don't play, then Zach Levine pops in or whoever else. So hopefully we get that. But there's a lot of things that are being worked on. And so sometimes certain things are more important than others. And I think that's just kind of how the cookie crumbles. But something like this, where fast break substitutions aren't correctly working or functioning, that's definitely a very high priority item. And hopefully that'll get resolved very soon. Jordan is here. Happy New Year to all. And afternoon, Tandy. Hello, Jordan. Bodwine is here. Happy New Year to the Tandyverse. Mike Weisberg is here. He says, for what it's worth, I didn't comment on your So Rare versus Top Shot Money tweet. It's just not factually accurate because you're comparing very different sample sizes. So Rare, you can only win bi-weekly. Fast Break gives you the opportunity nightly, but you're only going against like 3,000 lineups. Not true. Well, actually, I guess you mean like it's the same lineups that multiple people use. So that's fair, Weisberg, if that's what you mean. So Rare, you're going up against about 10,000 lineups. So the only thing that I would ask for some clarification there, Mike, is that I don't know if you mean that many people are using similar lineups or if you mean that's how many people you're against. So, when I've checked So Rare, for example, we can pop that up right now if you want to. Let's see right now. Here we go. So Rare. This is So Rare right here. So on the common, there's a lot of people playing the free game, and why wouldn't they? There's 16,000 people playing this free game, 8,000 people playing this other free game. And then for limited, there's 4,000 people playing these two limited games, which I have lineups in. So I know that, well, I think that there's more variety in a So Rare lineup because you can't stack it the way you can on Fast Break. So that does make sense that there's going to be more variety. But in terms of players, unless these numbers are wrong, and I remember this happened last time I talked about this, like, no, there's not 4,000. There's actually 14,000, but your numbers are just incorrect. But I'm looking at the screen here. 4,400 people are in this limited champion and 4,000 are in this limited contender. Compared to on Fast Break, I believe there's around 6,000 people playing. Obviously, these are pretty different games. And I think that as someone who is very much involved in Top Shot right now, especially on the back end and what the team is doing and trying to help out however I can, it makes sense to understand and play So Rare as well. So I think that my comment still stands that I think it's way easier to win cash in Top Shot. There are more, I think the total prize pool, obviously the way it works is very different on So Rare, where you have to buy new players to be in those new prize pools. That's not the case currently on Fast Break. And I actually think that Fast Break does need to go in that direction. Not exactly, obviously not the exact direction, but it can't be something which it is right now, which is basically buy once, play for infinity. That to me is not sustainable. So I don't know what that looks like exactly. I truly don't. But that is something that I believe will have to get added. And I think we talked about this a few weeks ago that NFL playbook did add something like that, where it was some kind of wrinkle. You had to use a rookie, you had to use something current. I think that it's just a matter of time until we see that on NBA. By the line says, I'm 13th in So Rare Common Contender. Free NFT money is still real. Well, good luck, sir. Sometimes that position changes wildly over the course of a couple of days. And by the line says, only 3,000 lineups from people less NBA sicko than me. Easy challenge. Stevie says, Tandy, do you know if Shy and Giannis Cup Rares are coming out before Facebook Fast Break locks tonight? Both are playing tonight. You know what? I was told, Stevie, because I saw that somebody asked that question in the Discord, and it might have been you. I was told that it is happening today. The problem is I don't know what time today. So I would hope it's happening before Fast Break, and I can make a note and go into my channels and ask and mention that, because I would agree that's important, especially if you only had one Giannis or one SGA rare, traded it in, and you need that rare for Fast Break. So I will ask on your behalf, Stevie. I see it's 4:00 Eastern, so we have like another 2 hours and 40 minutes until the first games tip off, I believe. Mike says I was comparing common versus common. Yeah, well, in that case, the price structure on So Rare is like way more difficult on common versus common. The other thing is it's apples to oranges because common on So Rare is literally $0. Fast break is 0 for 1 week, and then you have to own moment. So it's pretty difficult to compare the two. They're pretty different, but I can say that in my opinion, you can spend, $30 on fast break and put in a really competitive team and have a very good chance at placing, let's say for $30, or even bump it a little bit, throw a few rares in there. Let's call it 50 or $60. And I think on So Rare, you really don't have a shot if you spend 50 or $60. And again, this is no shade to So Rare. I'm very grateful that So Rare reached out to me, and were working with me for a little while before I started working for Top Shot, right? So it was the same kind of deal where I was an affiliate of So Rare and doing some promo work for them, the same way I was doing some promo work for Top Shot. After my promo work from Top Shot grew and became a lot more intense, I didn't think it was fair to So Rare to Top Shot to be working for So Rare while I was doing way more work and way more intensive work with Top Shot, because then So Rare basically is the competition in this point, and then it doesn't make sense anymore. So I said to So Rare, sorry, it was great working with you guys, but I cannot work with you any longer. I got to focus in on Top Shot now. But again, it's apples to oranges, and I'm not throwing shade at So Rare just because I'm way more aligned at this point with Fast Break. I'm trying to keep it as neutral as possible, which I think I usually do, and I think this is a neutral discussion. I'm not telling you not to go play So Rare or that So Rare sucks or anything like that. But if you think about competing against 14,000 people versus competing versus 6,000 people, obviously it's different. The price structure is way different, way more chances to win. That's all I'm saying. And with $60, you can make a very good lineup on Fast Break or a very crappy limited lineup on So Rare. That's the point I'm trying to make. All right, let's keep it going. We're all common and unique at the same time. Thank you, by the wine. Mike says, I will note in season is 4K, legacy champ is 10K for limited. Okay. And fair enough. And Stan says, nope, I don't believe this man. He's getting paid by Top Shot. Well, Stan, if you think I'm not being neutral or being fair here because I'm getting paid by Top Shot, I was getting paid by So Rare for a period of time. And again, I have nothing against So Rare, so I have no reason to completely crap on them. And I don't think I am crapping on them. I think this is a fair discussion. And if you have had a different experience, Stan, if you have had an experience where you believe you could go to So Rare, spend $60 on limited cards on So Rare, and have as good of a chance of cashing in, then let me know. I'm all ears. It's okay. This is a discussion here. This is not me just telling you what to believe. Anyway, so Mike, thank you for the discussion there. And I think that deserves a Mike Weisberg drop.
That's me in the corner. That's me in the spotlight. Losing my religion. Trying to keep up with you. And I don't know if I can do it. Oh no, I've said too much. I haven't said enough.
Oh yeah, it's my new favorite clip. My new favorite drop is the Mike Weisberg REM drop. Bodwine is confused. He says, what the hell is this edit? Stan says, the Cavs haven't lost a game since Weisberg told me the Celtics were better. Okay. Well, I guess Weisberg just controls whether or not the Celtics or the Cavs win or lose, doesn't he? Anyway, what else can we talk about, everybody? Well, there's a lot of things, honestly. I mean, like for Top Shot, for example, we have themed pack drops coming back. I know that much. I know that we had a blog release since we last spoke where we went over a bunch of what's going on the platform, of like things people were waiting for, a season update, shall we say. I mean, we could just take another look at that if we haven't, or if you guys haven't seen this yet, maybe you want to look at it real quick again. But we went over the Holiday of Hoops, which happened. It was a lot of work, by the way. I thought that went well. I mean, talking about the Holiday of Hoops, something kind of, I don't know if you want to call it funny or what, but so Jay Metz got a moment from Top Shot Santa. And I think a lot of people were up in arms about that. That Jay Metz got a moment from Top Shot Santa, and I think that people were wondering like, how does Jay Metz get a moment if he's on Twitter telling just kind of shitting on Top Shot. And then what I found kind of humorous too was his response to all this, which was something like, hold on, it's actually unbelievable. Let's share this. Hold on. Jay Metz's response to getting selected by Top Shot Santa was this: shocked, appreciative, but hardly humbled to receive this gift from NBA Top Shot. Nobody deserves it more. He's got a little Trump in him, doesn't he? Special thanks to Vinyls Never Die for keeping the platform alive, and to Roham, a brilliant technologist who needs a brilliant basketball operator to lead Top Shot. So a little bit of a jab right there at the end, basically saying you're brilliant, but someone else needs to be doing the job. So that was definitely a bit of a surprise. I was surprised that Jay Metz got chosen, because not that many people did get chosen for the Secret Santa gifts. So, and then something around that note that I was thinking about was like, I don't know how many people got sent gifts. I think maybe it was, let's call it 20 or 30 people. I mean, it was good to see some people, including Only Tan Reddy Miller, who usually shows up to the stream in about an hour. And, he's a big Hawks fan. He got a Trae Young, and, Banana Banking Mac has been collecting the Top Shot 50, and she also got actually a Trae Young Top Shot 50. And it was great to see. It was great to see like members of this community that I'm very familiar with get rewarded and get a gift from Top Shot Santa. But it's hard because not everyone can get a Top Shot Santa gift. And then what ends up happening is you get a whole lot of people who feel overlooked, who feel sort of butthurt is the word I believe they use. And there's Banana Banking Mac feeling truly blessed. What did Jay say? Hardly humbled. Banana, were you feeling hardly humbled when you received your gift? Anyway, so yeah, it's good to see. It's good to see people that we know in the community get rewarded. But of course, it's tough that hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people didn't get a reward who wanted one. And then I kind of wonder to myself, is it better to have a Top Shot Santa event if hundreds of people don't get a gift? Like, for the people who didn't get a gift, are you left feeling neutral or positive about Top Shot, or are you left feeling like more negative? Because these gifts obviously were just given out. It's not like you did something or you had to do something or complete a challenge or anything like that. I think the adult response is just to be happy for others who get gifts, but I understand there's always going to be a part of everybody who's like, why wasn't that me? I think that's a very normal human reaction. Why wasn't that me? I'm also special. I'm a special boy or a special girl. Why wasn't that me? But I think that the whole event is still a lot of fun. Something that I did actually on the back end was that I wanted to hear from people that were not on Twitter, because I know like we live in our little Twitter circle, our little Twitter bubble. And so I actually sent a Google form, and you may have seen that, which asks to learn more about individual collectors and hear their stories and hear about the moments that they wanted, and also just to get any feedback. It was their chance to give any feedback that they wanted about the platform. And it was really enlightening, actually, because it was something like 800 plus people that all gave this feedback. They all gave their feedback about Top Shot and stories of Top Shot. And of course, some of it is what you would expect. I mean, some of it was similar to what you hear in like the Twitter echo chamber, but there were hundreds of stories that were really amazing to read about, like how Top Shot kind of brought people closer to basketball, to even to like stories about people about it bringing closer to their friends and family, about how it sort of helped them overcome challenging times. I mean, you'll recall that a lot of this action on Top Shot was happening during COVID, like peak COVID. So some stories around things like that. So it was really cool to hear from people that were not just in the Twitter bubble, or just people that we all know in this chat. So that part I thought was really cool, and I hope we can repeat that in the future. But I do wonder, like, how do you make more people feel rewarded when it's something where only a very small percentage of people can get rewarded? And something I even thought about was give out a whole crap load of vouchers. that's actually something that So Rare does to bring So Rare back into the conversation is you win. Sometimes you win cash on So Rare, but actually what it is it's a voucher. It's like a discount off your next purchase. And I thought that would actually be pretty cool. It's something where maybe you get $10 off, up to $10 off on your next purchase in the marketplace. That's still something. And that's still, it's still something where both the user and the platform benefit. Let's see if it can happen in the future. I think it's pretty good. But let's see. Let me catch up on the chat here. Boston Bay says there's multiple Weisberg drops. Is that true? Do we have more? Do we have a different Weisberg drop? I didn't know that. By the way, says this stream is almost like if the Octomom pooped out 8 Gallagher twins. I don't know exactly what that means, but thank you. Pichiluro says upcoming trades are Zion, Ingram, Jimmy Butler, D'Lo to the Nets happened already. As far as I know, Zion, Ingram, and Jimmy Butler didn't get traded yet. Bottom says Mark Williams is the MVP of the Hornets. Perfect Serial says don't forget about De'Aaron Fox as a trade candidate. Absolutely. And Stan says I shouldn't have to beg on Twitter if I'm a real collector. This is another thing that I thought was misguided, Stan. Is that so? I wrote that tweet, by the way, and I wrote the email as well. And nowhere did I say beg or prove yourself. All I said was tell me about the moment. Like prove your case about the moment. Not that if you are a collector. I wanted you to tell me about why a moment was special to you. And I'm thinking you guys are probably going to be very surprised that like 90% of the people who wrote in about their favorite moments, it was Victor Wembanyama rookies, legendaries, and LeBron James rookies or Top Shot debuts and legendaries. Can you believe it? Can you believe that like 90% of the community all has the same favorite moment? Isn't that amazing? QA says it's a recurring theme here. People feel entitled. Banana says, hear me out though. Is the issue that they're handing out Legos and then if they toss someone a $15 rare, it's like, why did I get this? And someone got a $200 Lego. Botherwine says special Tandy for the win. Banana says if they want to hit the masses, do rares $20 to $40 range so no one gets salty. I don't dislike that thinking, Banana. Botherwine says none of it's going to hit the masses. Ryan says people already get a 20 to 30 pack every 2 weeks for Fast Break. Boston says rig it for your friends. Right, Tandy? Right, Tandy? I didn't rig it, Boston Base. I didn't have a finger on the scale. Ryan says that's what Dapper Balance is. $10 off your next purchase. Yeah, I guess that's true. Badwine says, bro, you just played Oasis. Badwine, are you out of your damn mind? Do I need to play that clip again? Does Badwine not know the song Losing My Religion by REM? I am ashamed. I am hurt. I am hardly humbled. Alex says, how do you make people feel more rewarded? Random gifts from leaderboard positioning, tickets, packs, moments, merch, jerseys, etc. Don't disagree with you there, Alex. I think those are all great ideas. Banana says, just a suggestion for TS Santa. Yeah, I get that we get the fast break packs with rares, but lots of people are upset about just gifting Legos. But that's the thing, Banana. That's not the spirit of Christmas. That's not the spirit of Santa Claus. Sometimes you don't get the legendary. And maybe next time you do. If Jay Metz can get a legendary, hell, anybody in this chat can get a legendary. Am I not right? Am I not right? Am I not right? Does that not equate with all of you in here? If Jay Metz can get a legendary, so can you. I think maybe that's why Jay Metz got a legendary. Because now everyone's going to think that they're next. Make your case about the moment, Boston Base. Oh my Lord. I guess you guys are going to have to spell check or grammar or proofread my tweets. Can I have you all on a private chat and I'll proofread everything I want to tweet out? Oy vey. All right, let's keep it going. The Oasis lore is fun, says Bod the Wine. Make your case means beg. Since when does make your case mean beg? What? All right, I'm going to ChatGPT. I'm going to ask this right now. Does make your case mean to beg? Oh, you guys are wrong. I'm going to read right now what ChatGPT is saying. No, comma. Make your case does not mean to beg. It means to present a reasoned argument or explanation to persuade someone about something. This phrase is often used in situations where you are trying to convince someone by providing evidence or logical reasoning. For example, in a debate, Make your case for why we should adopt this policy in a personal situation. Make your case for why we should go to that restaurant tonight. Begging, on the other hand, involves asking for something earnestly or desperately, often without much logical reasoning or persuasion involved. Case closed. Stan loves Boston base. Take this L. Take this L because you both just took an L because there was no begging going on. If you guys wanted to beg, that was up to you. There's no begging going on. All right, let's keep it going. All right. So Baudouin says, I'm embarrassed. I got my 90s British bands mixed up. Stan says Mets deserved a legendary after the way he was slandered by a Top Shot employee on Twitter. I don't even remember that. A Top Shot employee slandered Mets? Boston Base says, make your cases like, tell me, Mr. Bond, why should I let you live? Boston Base, we just talked about this. Okay, I'm late on the comments now, but we just talked about this. Pohi Biggie says the Top Shot Santa saltiness is classic overpromise, underdeliver consequence, hype it up as some sort of event, and then gift things to 2-digit number of users. I am hardly humbled by the Chat GPT explanation, says Pohi Biggie. Banana says, weren't there supposed to be leaderboard stuff and merch handed over the Christmas event? Leaderboard stuff and merch? Not that I remember that there was merch being handed out on the Christmas event. Boston Base says, for the record, I never begged. First time watching the stream on the TV screen. Tandy in HD. Look how big I am, QA. Look how big. Look how big my hands are. Biggest hands. Biggest hands. I got the biggest hands of any Top Shot streamer. Biggest hands. Springer says, are you talking about the Dear Top Shot Secret Santa tweet? It says, comment why a moment belongs under your tree. I understood this as why you should receive a moment, not identifying why a particular moment should be given to you. So if I'm understanding you correctly, because now I'm getting confused, it was supposed to be about a particular moment. So next time I'll make it a 10-tweet thread. By the way, I'm not talking about why you are a special boy and why you need your belly rubbed. I'm talking about why this moment is special to you, aka I went to that game that night when I proposed to my dear girlfriend, and 6 weeks later she dumped me for the trash guy, the guy that gets the trash. That's insane watching Tandy in 4K, says Bud DeWine. Stan says Tandy's wife gave him permission to use the office today. Well, as you might realize, we started on time this time. That's why we started on time. Lately, we've been starting late. It's been quite busy in the back end of making NBA Top Shot hum along, and I've been kind of late. I've been working on stuff. Sometimes there's drops like right at the same time as the stream, and then that was not working for me. So that's why. Anyways, what else? I know we have other things we could cover as well. Let me see if I made any other. Okay, we could talk about something that involved Banana Banking Mac, which is the Connectin' and Collectin' episode where Roham appeared on the Connecting and Connecting episode. And did you guys watch it? Start thinking about your comments about the show while we run the clip.
Rohan.
Boston based, by the way, say me admitting that I'm responsible for Top Shot promotional tweets and emails is big news. Well, I'm not the only person responsible. So let's just get one thing straight. There's other people responsible as well. But anyways, if you haven't watched the episode, you should watch it. You should watch it. It's a good episode, I thought. I thought that stuff that I enjoyed about the episode, I enjoyed some of the big brain stuff that Roham was talking about. He mentioned something about like liquidity pools, which is kind of crazy. And he mentioned other things that would be easier wins, like when we want to grab moments and use them for our phones or our computer screens or whatever to make that easier, which seemed like a pretty easy win, which he also said was an easy win. One interesting thing that I found was when he said that he thought that if you're a big fan of a player, why are you burning them to prove your fandom when in fact you should be locking them? But the problem I have with that argument is that I think that if you're a big fan of a player, you want to see their values a certain way on the platform. And burning or trading in, as we like to say, we're not burning things, we trade them in. If you trade in your favorite player and his value goes up because you've traded him in. I think that's also good. The problem with locking, obviously, is that it's temporary. I think if locking was like even longer, then it might have closer to an effect of trading in. But yeah, I think trade-ins are a very healthy part of the platform. So that's one thing where I would say I disagreed a little bit. One thing I was waiting for was for Treaticus to have to explain himself, but he didn't. I think everyone was very well behaved. I was waiting for Treaticus to explain some of those tweets when he kind of fired off a bunch of tweets a few weeks ago, and some of them seemed just slightly unhinged. Maybe just like Diet Coke unhinged, not like full Coke, but maybe Diet Coke unhinged. And I was kind of waiting for the great showdown, the great showdown, like in the old Western movies. But no, not the case whatsoever. But yeah, I think if you haven't watched it, it's worth a watch, I would say. You can always speed it up a little bit. That's what I do when I watch podcasts or listen to podcasts. Everybody's going at like maybe 1.5, 1.33x. But kudos to the collected and connected crowd. Kudos as well. I thought Torque is a really good interviewer, actually. So good on you, Torque. Good job. But good to the whole connecting and collecting team for making that happen. What else? We talked about Santa Claus. We talked about So Rare versus Top Shot tweet, and Weisberg chimed in and we gave him his Weisberg drop. What else? Let's see. Let's read some comments here. Awesome episode, says Peachy Luro. Perfect Cereal says, I just watched it today. It's cool to hear about features and ideas being considered. And Roham was hardly humbled. It definitely sounds like a Trump tweet, doesn't it? Hardly humbled. All right. And Boston says, I hear you, Tandy, on wanting your player to have good value, but it's a lot of burden to put on a fan. Need better balance. It's always about balance, isn't it? Poe says, I agree with Roham. Trading in to win something and then seeing value go up, so it is more expensive to rebuy, is not the best experience. Well, that's also a valid point. And Steve is here. He says, for burning, I don't usually burn locked moments. I'll just buy new ones from the market specifically to burn. All right. And Bodwine says, I hate speeding up pods. I love people that talk hella slow. All right. Good to know, Bodwine, because I think I speak pretty slowly. And when I rewatch my stuff, I always speed it up. Burn at the expense of Dapper like they did for Christmas, not at the expense of users. We should talk about that too. That was huge, man. That was like over $200,000 of Dapper credit traded in for the community. That was amazing. I hope dearly that we can see something like that again. I mean, obviously, that's a lot of cash, so I don't think it's going to happen next week, but I would love to see that happen again. That is something that I think is healthy for the marketplace. And I think everybody that participated definitely enjoyed it from what I could tell. And I'd love to see more of that. And let's see. Low, deep, and slow, baby. Whoa, Bodwine. Just like my own voice. All right, Bodwine, calm down. Bossa Bay says, Tandy, tell us, were they talking internally about how much money it costs Top Shot? Not that I was aware of, Boston Base. Not that I was aware of, to answer that question. So what else can we talk about? Well, there was a Gary Payton hangout. I don't know if you guys recall on that one. That was pretty cool. I got to attend that. That was a lot of fun. One interesting question that I thought that Gary Payton answered was about the All-Star game. That was my question to him, which is basically like, Gary Payton, you always played really hard. Your All-Star games were always super competitive. What is the deal with these crappy current day All-Star games, and how do we fix it? And what I remember from what he said was basically that if you should give people the option to opt out, players should opt out. So anybody who doesn't want to play in the All-Star game, even though they get awarded, they get the money of being selected an All-Star, but you don't play if you don't want to. I think that's the way it should be. I agree with Mr. Payton that only players should play if they say, I will play hard, I will play defense. Otherwise, great, you're named an All-Star, and I'm going to let someone else play in my place. But, we also see that Top Shot is doing a promotion right now. Currently, it's targeted at new users. I don't know if it will expand. I think it's possible it will. But they're giving away NBA All-Star tickets to new users. Basically, that just to gauge on the platform. You buy a pack, even a $5 Grail Seeker pack, you're entered to win. If you also, I think even if you just play a game of Fast Break, so in theory, that's even less than $5. But those new users are going to be eligible to win a trip to the All-Star game. So that is pretty cool. It's always good to see Top Shot get involved in these tent pole events, as they're called. However, the case may be, if it's something more official, less official, whatever the case may be, I like to see them get involved at all of the above, all of the events. So like, it was cool seeing them in Vegas, and it's cool that they're going to be at the All-Star game. And I hope that Top Shot finds its way into basically every NBA related event that's worth being at. I think that's the way it should work. QA says, Tandy, you seem to be doing very well on Fast Break. Have you bought a lot of rares recently? So I did buy a rare today. I bought a Tyler Hero rare because I was irritated that I didn't have him yesterday. So I bought one of him. But in terms of other rares that I bought, I need to actually take a look at if I bought any other rares recently. So I could actually share some of my moments right here, and we can take a look. So I bought this Tyler Hero Metallic Gold rare. This was in a pack, that Lively rare. Let's see. Do I have any other rares that I got recently? Come on, load it up. It's how the show. See, this is when the Wi-Fi is acting a little slow right now. But yeah, I bought a Jalen Johnson and a Brandon Miller. That's true. I bought this John Morant just 'cause I thought it was cool. I won this Jalen Suggs in a Fast Break pack. I traded up for these Jalen Brunson and Bam, so those were not new. This was like also from a Fast Break pack. I bought this Dyson Daniels, even though he's been injured. Haven't been able to use him. So yeah, those are some of the newer rares that I picked up. But I already had quite a lot of rares because I was buying them in the off season, just kind of prepping for Fast Break. But you can do well in Fast Break with a few rares. You can do even better with more rares. But some people who have been at the top of the Fast Break leaderboard have actually been using commons. So anything can happen. Perfect Serial says, I attended the Jamal Crawford hangout. He was awesome. I watched the playback of that one, and he was awesome. And I even got a little choked up at one point. This one guy that shared his question that he asked was about like one of his best friends who was a young lady who got really badly injured in a car accident. And like, it was just very kind of emotional and amazing that this young guy would ask about this friend of his as his question to Jamal Crawford. So you'll see it because I'm going to be helping to get these interviews or these player hangouts uploaded after the fact. Jamal Crawford also shared like an amazing story about Kobe Bryant, but then the Players Association wouldn't approve of it. So that sucked. So Perfect Serial knows the story, but unfortunately other people won't be able to hear it because the Players Association won't let it get published. But it was very cool. He talked about his greatest opponent, and it was Kobe. And he said that like the night before playing Kobe, he wouldn't even be able to sleep at night. And not only that, but he said that Kobe Bryant didn't acknowledge his existence for 7 years in the NBA. He did not acknowledge his existence for 7 years. And only when Jamal Crawford started really balling out and was scoring like 50 points a game is when Kobe Bryant finally acknowledged Jamal Crawford. And then he gifted him a pair of sneakers on his retirement tour, Kobe did. And Jamal Crawford did show those off. And I think hopefully those made it. I don't know if those made it into the long form video, or at least his signed autographed jersey is in the long form video. But unfortunately, that story that was very Kobe centric, the Players Association didn't want to allow it. But anyway, K Don says, what are the stats on new users over the last 3 months? You're going to have to go to a live token for that, K Don. I do not know off the top of my head. Peachy says, how do you feel about the new All-Star tournament style format? Peachy, at this point, anything is better than what it has been for the last few years. So if this is what it takes to get some competition, great. If it's got to be something else, if the players got to wear Dora the Explorer backpacks and wear high heels to make it competitive, do that. Whatever they got to do to make this thing competitive, because it is such a shame. And this is kind of also like the way I spoke about it with Gary Payton was like these were really amazing memories for me when I was a kid, in the 90s, the All-Star games in the 90s. And then I remember when I was even as in college or so, and I'm aging myself here, but that must have been in the early 2000s. And already the All-Star game, especially certain aspects of it, had started to fall off. Like the dunk contest became crap already. I mean, other than like the Vince Carter contest, in my opinion, a dunk contest hasn't been great in a pretty long time. So like those games in the 90s where players actually tried hard and played defense, like we need that back somehow. The problem is these guys are all just way too rich and there's just too much on the line. And you see them nowadays, how they get injured. I mean, you get injured. Look what happened to Isaiah Thomas. You get injured. That's literally tens of millions of dollars flying out the window. So imagine getting injured in an all-star game. These guys are not willing to do it. The flip side of that argument, though, is when they go play at these like UCLA runs, which Jamal Crawford actually also talked about in the hangout. These guys go play in a UCLA run and they go play hard. So why can't they play the same way they play in a UCLA run, the way they play for the All-Star game? That's my question. That's all people want to see. They want to see a pickup basketball game of the greatest players in the world. And that's what the All-Star game was. And that's what the All-Star game should be. And that not only that, it's better for the NBA players because it creates a whole lot more awareness about the product too. Pohi says, can Top Shot members rig their fast break lineups? I wish I would do it. Boston Bay says, will Top Shot have a present at the AVN Adult Entertainment Expo in Las Vegas? As far as I know, they will not. But if somebody from Top Shot wants to send me there, I'll go. Let's see what else. What player's legendary is the best buy? I'm thinking of getting one soon. Well, Pohi, this becomes a very layered question because are we talking about utility and fast break? Are we talking about just pure collectability? Because those are two very different conversations. And if you want a little bit of each, then also you're looking for like the best price to, I guess, value wise of the player. I mean, you could ask Boston Base. He just picked up a few players, a few legendaries. He might have some opinions there. So here he's talking about it right here. I think there are Lego rookies that are at good prices, especially low offers. Sabonis is a good value. He's good for fast break. And let's see what else. Wow, Tandy not knowing new user numbers off the dome. Sad. K-Don says, I assumed you'd know the marketing numbers by heart, Tandy. Disappointed. Otherwise says the All-Star format will not work, I think. And Pohi says the All-Star game was cool in the 90s because you had a rare chance to see some of the players. Now you have streams, league pass, and TikTok highlights. Wait a second. You're saying that it was cool in the past because otherwise you wouldn't see the players? Didn't you watch Inside the NBA with Ahmad Rashad? I used to see those players. You saw them on Saturday morning with Ahmad Rashad. You didn't have to wait for the All-Star break. You're just an old fart, Tandy. All-Star game is cooked. And I think that's a really sad reality if that's the case, Pohi Big U. If it's just cooked and the All-Star game is just like a relic of the past, that just seems super sad to me. And I guess we just have to come up with other ways to entertain the crowds. So if it's Sabrina Ionescu versus Steph Curry at the three-point line, so be it. And the whole event becomes that kind of a thing. And I don't even know if they should play a game then, because the game that they're playing absolutely sucks. Nobody wants to watch it. It's like alley-oops. Literally no one is playing defense. It sucks. And if that's what you're showing off to people who are unfamiliar with the NBA, I just think that's really misguided and short-sighted and needs to be changed. And we're just going to keep changing it every single year until we find something that works. Because so far, this stuff ain't working. I think you should have like one-on-one competitions because then you have to play defense. There's no option to not play defense when you're playing one-on-one, or even that's why I'm hopeful that this tournament thing has a better chance. But I would want it like 2-on-2, 3-on-3, so that you have to play defense. Otherwise, you're just going to get embarrassed. That's the way it needs to be. That's why they played defense in the 90s, because they didn't want to be embarrassed. We need that again. But when it's just a bunch of multi-millionaires just not playing defense anymore because they don't think they need to, then what the hell is the point of playing that game? Just skip it. Peachy says, I'm hoping the rookie sophomore team makes it to the All-Star final game. Definitely would make it more competitive. Amen, Peachy. I hope so too. Just cancel the game and morph the IST Summer League All-Star. Yeah, we'll have everything at one event. K Dunn says surely hardcourt is around the corner. Now I sense the sarcasm in that comment, K Dunn, but I will say that we don't need hardcourt anymore because the game has been created. The game is fast break. Pohi said, who would win a 1-versus-1 tourney? Jokic, Luka, SGA, Giannis? It's a great question. Yeah, I think one of those players would definitely have a very good shot at it. I don't know. We'd have to like really break this down to get a good idea on this one. I'm not sure who would win that. Anyway, what else? Do we want to do a little tangential? We'll do a little tangential because I know Bobby, I think Bobby Digital, right? Well, wants a tangential, so let's do it. I just love the music. The tangential today is about banana boats. That's what Bobby Digital asked me on Twitter to talk about. He said, talk about banana boats. So I went on a banana boat in Brazil on, I think one of my last days there. You know, the banana boat, you guys know it. It gets powered by like a power boat and you're on the big old inflated banana. And the whole fun of it is that you fall off the banana boat. So what happens is the guy driving the boat will say, hey, when I put my hands up, you put your hands up, and then we're going to like do a hard turn. You're going to fall in the water and everyone's just going to LOL. And it's going to be so much fun. So that's what we did. We went on the banana boat. It was me, my wife, my son, and also my and his cousin and my wife's sister and her husband. And we're going around in the banana boat. And it's actually something that is kind of fun about the banana boat is like, it's basically like you're on a jet ski, but you don't have to control the jet ski whatsoever. And it's kind of a smoother ride. So you're holding on to the handles and you can just look at the coastline and look at the waves, look at the ocean, kind of take it all in. That's definitely, to me, the nicest part of the banana boat, but you could sort of get that experience on a boat as well. Don't really need to be on a banana boat. But anyway, what then happens is he makes the turn and it's way too shallow. And so I crash into the water. My chin smacks into my wife's back. My son like kicks me in the head. My niece gets like elbow dropped by her dad. It sucked. That part sucked. And then I told the guy driving the boat, I was like, hey, you just dropped us in really shallow water. He's like, no, that wasn't shallow water. That was fine. I'm like, okay, pal. Like, please go deeper next time because you almost cut my chin open. You almost like had my son get knocked out while he was in the water. Can you please do it better next time? And so he's like, all right, get back on the banana boat. We get back on the banana boat and I tell my wife, listen, now let's space out. Okay. So that way, when we fall in the water, we're not all elbow dropping each other. We all have some room to fall. And then the same guy that said it was not shallow water was like, no, you guys should get closer together. It's way more fun that way. And I was like, this guy doesn't know what the F he's talking about. Let's space each other out again, and then let's enjoy ourselves. And that's what we did. We fell in the water again. I didn't elbow drop anyone. I didn't get kicked in the head. Way better experience. But as a whole, the banana boat is overrated. That's what I'll say right now, right here. It's overrated. The banana boat is overrated. I don't know what all the hoopla was when Carmelo Anthony and Chris Paul, LeBron, and whoever else, Dwight Howard, were loving riding the banana boat. I don't think it deserves the tier that it has in NBA culture. I think riding a jet ski is way cooler. That's what I did with my son, and that was badass. Riding a jet ski was amazing. That was the second time in my life I've ridden a jet ski, and that was just super fun. You need the waves to kind of participate or collaborate with you, cooperate with you, or else it's like slap really hard. It's like bang, bang, bang on the water, and it like hurts your wrists. In this case, I think we were going like the waves were nice, and we're just gliding along those waves. It was kick ass. And so if you ever have a chance to ride a jet ski, go do it. If you ever have a chance to ride on a banana boat, space yourself out. And that has been the tangential. All right. Bowie Biggie says, going to the beach with your wife's sister is brave. Not gonna lie. Hey, what are do you think's going on over there, Pohi Big U? What, we're supposed to enjoy the beach separately? Botherwine says, I went gliding in/over Jamaica. Super boring, but great views. Well, that sounds nice. Tandy acting like Karen, says Pohi Big U. Banana Boat is the fandom tier of boats, says QA. And K-Don says, my fiance is Jamaican. I love her 100%, man, more because of the cuisine, man. You ever have the jerk and the beef patty? You ever like the okra and the oxtail? K-Don, he likes the okra and the oxtail. All right. What else do we have to talk about now that we have done a Jamaican accent? I feel like that was what we wanted to hit today, first and foremost. I don't think I got anything else. I'm not happy that Mike Brown got fired by the Sacramento Kings. I think that was a mistake. And I think that he gave one of the best clips when everyone was like laughing and screaming, and then he did it too. That was one of my favorite Mike Brown clips of all time. So it makes me sad that we don't have chances to see something like that again. It makes me sad also for the Kings fans. I know there's a lot of Kings fans in this chat, just like, you know, Chewy and Poker Pro Eric, who hasn't shown up to a stream in about a year, but a lot of really good Kings fans in this community. So it sucks that they suck. I felt like I'm watching Ali G for a second. Wicked Booyakasha K-Don. All right. I think that's it. I don't have anything else to say. My wife is already texting me. She's like, come on, help me put the kids to bed. I don't know, though. I think we should just kill another 5 minutes and piss off my wife. What do you guys say? No, I guess that's it. I don't really have anything else to share, guys. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Let's just keep it going. It's the new year. Big year, big things coming, wonderful things coming ahead. Let's all hope for it. Let's all get together, give peace a chance, and let's send Jay Metz more legendaries. Everybody, just go buy a legendary, send one to Jay Metz. And Bomba Clat, says Pichiluro. Big things are gone. Big things ready now. Guan, rude boy. Booyakasha. Try this meat patty, boy. The meat patty is not too spicy unless you're a batty boy. Big comeback show from Tandy. Happy New Year. Thank you, QA. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We came back to StreamYard, by the way. I just wasn't liking Restream, so StreamYard it is until they make me pay to, like, do anything on here. I should be able to play my Mike Weisberg clip for free. That's all. That's all I ask. So anyways, thanks, everybody. Get back to it. We should be back next week, all things considered. And I hope you all have a nice time. And thanks for being here with me. And take care. All right. See ya.